What's the difference between limerence during an affair and infatuation during dating? Hi, Rick. My unfaithful husband describes the high that his affair partner gave him. Tells me he lost his infatuation for me long ago and kept expecting me, he admits unfairly, to do something to bring it back. My only lens or experience to compare it to is the euphoria I felt during the infatuation phase of our relationship. It's hurtful and difficult for me to think that he felt the same way about her as he did about me during that phase of our relationship. I think at this point, he has a better understanding of what real love looks like than I do, because I can't shake the idea that infatuation is what you should try to generate in a relationship, because that is the ideal that he wanted from me our whole marriage. I want to understand this and understand how what he had with his affair partner is different from what we had at the beginning of our relationship, college sweethearts. He was my only sexual relationship, and from what we have now. I would say there's very little difference between what the two of you had at the beginning of your relationship as sweethearts and what he had there, because that's what we call a stage one relationship, and it's based on dopamine. It's not based on a deeper love. It's based on a feeling, not on a deep attachment. When people get married, they transition from a dopamine-based relationship, which is basically dopamine is the pleasure neurochemical, and it just gives you a high all the time. It's a euphoria. So we get married, we leave a dopamine-based relationship, and we go to an oxytocin-based relationship. Oxytocin is the security, trust. It has a much deeper long-term connection, but it's not the crazy high that people get in stage one. Dopamine-based relationships at best will last 2 to 3 years, as best I understand, and all relationships have to go to the second phase. The problem is most of us have been taught through Disney that it's always about that crazy high, that infatuation, that dopamine piece. And if people stayed in the dopamine phase all the time, in all honesty, not a lot would get done because you're crazy. You don't function well when you're just working off the pleasure neurochemicals. So what you want to get to is phase two relationships. And all people do that during marriage. So in that sense, I can't tell you that what he experienced was different. His problem was he kept thinking that being immature, being stuck with just pleasure is what it's all about. And it's not a matter so much of how someone makes you feel. It's really more a measure of how well you're able to love another person. And that's what happens when oxytocin begins to kick in. So I hope that helps you a little bit.